The United States Capitol. If you've seen pictures of Washington, D.C., it's the large white building with the towering dome, sitting proudly atop Capitol Hill. It's not just a symbol of democracy. It's where Congress meets to create the laws that shape the United States. At the heart of this iconic building lies the Capitol Rotunda. It's a circular space directly beneath the dome. It's lined with statues of American heroes and murals depicting pivotal moments from history. It's where the past meets the present. And while most presidential inaugurations happen outside on the steps facing the National Mall, there have been 5 times in history when the ceremony was moved indoors into the Rotunda. And these weren't just practical decisions, they became historic moments in their own right. Picture this. It's Inauguration Day. The president stands on the Capitol steps facing a sea of people stretching all the way to the Washington Monument and beyond. But what happens when the weather doesn't cooperate or history throws a curveball? That is when the Rotunda steps into the spotlight. But it's more than just a backup venue. It's a space that carries as much meaning as the ceremony itself. The first time that it happened was in 1817. James Monroe was set to become the 5th president of the United States, but the weather had other ideas. Heavy rain and strong winds made an outdoor ceremony absolutely impossible, so they moved it inside. At the time, the Capitol had just been rebuilt after the British burned it during the War of 1812. Monroe's swearing in wasn't just about a new leader. It symbolized a country moving forward after devastation. In 1825, John Quincy Adams also took his oath in the Rotunda. That election, it was a messy one. No candidate won a majority in the Electoral College, so the House of Representatives had to make the final call. Adams chose to swear on a book of law instead of the Bible, a very rare decision that reflected his dedication to governance. Back then, the Rotunda was far simpler than it is today. The iconic dome we recognize now had not even been added yet. Fast forward more than a century to 1974, Gerald Ford stood in the Rotunda to take the oath after Richard Nixon's resignation. There were no parades or cheering crowds, just a quiet, solemn moment during a very turbulent time. Ford's words, quote, "Our long national nightmare is over," end quote. They echoed through the room. His words offered reassurance to a nation in crisis. In 1985, Ronald Reagan's second inauguration joined the list. Record-breaking cold temperatures made the outdoor ceremony absolutely impossible. Instead, the event moved inside the Rotunda. It was smaller and more intimate, but the setting did not diminish the moment whatsoever. Reagan's words carried the same strength and optimism that defined his presidency. And now, history adds yet another chapter. On January 20th, 2025, Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th president inside the Capitol Rotunda. Once again, extreme cold has forced the event indoors, making it only the 5th time in history that this iconic space has hosted a presidential inauguration. But the Rotunda is more than just a backup plan. It's a place that represents the resilience and the unity of the United States. Built in 1824 and later crowned with its massive dome in 1866, it witnessed some of the most important moments in American history. Its statues and murals tell stories of struggle, progress, and perseverance. It's a reminder that history isn't something that just happens, but it is something that we create. These are Interesting Things with JC.